December 24th, 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. It was supposed to be a night of joy, laughter, and holiday cheer. But for the Sodder family, it turned into an unthinkable nightmare. 5 children went to bed that Christmas Eve and were never seen again. Their disappearance has puzzled investigators, haunted their surviving family members, and sparked decades of speculation. Were they victims of a fire or something far more sinister? The Sodder family, led by George and Jenny Sodder, were well known in their small community. They had 10 children, and by all accounts, they were a loving household. On Christmas Eve, most of the family went to sleep after a night of festivities, but sometime after midnight, a fire broke out. Jenny Sodder, the mother, was the first to notice something was wrong. The house was engulfed in flames, and the family rushed to escape. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children made it out. But the 5 youngest, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were never seen again. The official explanation was that the children perished in the blaze. However, the Sodders quickly realized that things didn't add up. For one, there were no human remains found in the ashes. Not a single bone, not a single trace. Fire experts have stated that even in the most intense blazes, human bones don't completely disintegrate. Yet after combing through the rubble, investigators found nothing. A salesman warned George that his house would go up in smoke due to his outspoken. As the Sodders searched for answers, more bizarre details emerged. A mysterious man had been seen watching the Sodder children in the days leading up to Christmas. On the night of the fire, the Sodders' phone line had been cut. Their ladder, which George planned to use to rescue the children, was missing. It was later found thrown down an embankment 75 feet away. Their trucks, which could have been used to reach the second-floor windows, mysteriously wouldn't start. Was this all just a series of unfortunate coincidences? Or was something more deliberate at play? In the years following the fire, multiple people claimed to have seen the Sodder children. A woman working at a Charleston hotel said she saw 4 of them with 2 men and 2 women of Italian descent. A bus driver passing through the area on the night of the fire recalled seeing people throwing balls of fire onto the Sodder home. In 1949, an excavation at the site found small bone fragments, but forensic analysis suggested they came from an adult, not a child. The most chilling clue came in 1967. Jenny Sodder received an envelope postmarked from Kentucky. Inside was a photograph of a young man who bore a striking resemblance to her missing son, Louis. On the back, a cryptic message read, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, ill boys, a 90132 or 35. Over the decades, numerous theories have emerged. The Mafia connection. Some believe that George Sodder's criticism of Mussolini angered powerful Italian factions. The theory suggests that the children were kidnapped by the Italian Mafia as a warning or punishment. If true, they may have been taken to Italy or another part of the country, forced into new identities and separated from their past lives. A kidnapping gone wrong. Another theory is that the Sodder children were meant to be kidnapped, but the situation spiraled out of control, with the fire being a cover-up for their abduction. This would explain the missing ladder, the cut phone lines, and the non-functioning trucks, which may have been sabotaged to prevent the parents from interfering. Child trafficking. Some speculate that the children were abducted and sold into human trafficking. The post-incident sightings of children resembling the Sodders, particularly in the company of strange adults, fuel this theory. A tragic fire, after all. While unlikely due to the lack of remains, some believe that the children did perish in the fire, and investigative failures led to the missing evidence. Proponents of this theory suggest the remains were overlooked or destroyed due to the intense heat and poor forensic practices of the time. Legacy and unanswered questions. The Sodders never stopped searching. They kept a billboard along Route 16, displaying their children's faces, pleading for information. Jenny Sodder wore black for the rest of her life, mourning children she was never able to bury. The case remains unsolved. No official explanation has ever satisfied those who have studied it. Did the Sodder children die that Christmas Eve? Or were they stolen away into a mystery that has spanned generations? Some mysteries may never be solved. But one thing is certain: the Sodder family's grief and unanswered questions have stood the test of time. And until the truth comes to light, the vanishing of the Sodder children will remain one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Even today, researchers and amateur sleuths continue to investigate. Perhaps one day a new clue will emerge. An old photograph, a DNA match, or a long-buried confession. Until then, the truth remains just out of reach, hidden in the shadows of history.